and welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast, episode 14. In this episode, I speak with stand-up comedian, artist, and overall incredible human being, Ariel Jimenez. I met Ariel through the artistic community here in Los Angeles a couple years ago, and he's just a phenomenal guy, a phenomenal artist, a phenomenal human being. He's a really deep dude, and this conversation, to no surprise, gets really deep really quickly, and those are the people I love in my life. Ariel is a pillar, I would say, here in the Los Angeles artistic community. He's connected to so many different groups. He's let me know about so many different artistic events and different people here in the community. And he's just a great guy. So I really look forward to you listening to this conversation. The book of the episode is going to be one of my personal favorite, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It is a novel, and without giving too much away, it deals with the realm of finding your purpose in life, or finding your treasure, as the book says. And it's one of my favorites. So, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, you cannot go wrong. Without further ado, here is my conversation with Ariel. Ariel Jimenez, you are now in the Sam Dever Podcast. Welcome, my friend.
Dude, thank you for having me, man. Like, first of all, it's so fucking good to see your beautiful face. Oh. It's so fucking good to spend some time, and just fucking chop it up, man. Like, you're a really cool guy, and I'm happy that, we're fucking, like, doing this shit. We could just catch up and shit, man.
Yeah, well, likewise, man. And, I mean, really, I'll start this conversation. I mean, I met you at it was Ford, one of Ford Fanter's events at his place. And I just remember you were so personable and so interested in art and creativity and all these things. And I started asking you some questions, and you go, "Well, have you been to this?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
Have you been to this? Like no. This event, this event in LA, like this art. You seem to be someone that has, from my interactions with you, always has their finger on the pulse of the creative in Los Angeles. Is that a fair statement?
Oh, facts. Like, first of all those places have closed down.
We're talking pre-pandemic right now.
Pre-pandemic. Oh my God, they all closed. But I mean, you gotta understand. I'm a man of the people. Like, I love art. Like, you gotta understand. I love authentic displays of, like, expression in any format. Like what is it? Like, let me just get personal off the bat. I don't know what your home life was like. But my parents, they were one of those people where, like, if they had a problem, it would just stay there. And then the next day, it'd be like, all right, it's a new day. Never bring it up. Just keep it going. And I was like, how do you have a marriage like that? And then obviously you don't. But, like, that, I think, seeing, like, that was my first interaction with, like, seeing what not expressing yourself does. People just don't understand you, or they don't understand. Like, because my parents had, like, simple problems that if you just talked, I think they would have been resolved. You know what I mean? But like, as I got older, I got more expressive. I made sure that I'm like, hey, I want people to know how I'm feeling, and I imagine other people feel the same way. And I started going to these art spaces, and it's really, these art spaces are the only places that I've seen people just wanting to just express themselves, just purely, just like pure, like, it could either be in anger, in hate, in love, whatever it is. Let me give you a raw, authentic display of, like, emotions and humanity. And I love that shit, which is also why I like going to your acting stuff. Because, like, like, it's people acting, but, like, shit, you guys are really, you know what? If you didn't tell me it was acting, especially, you're a great actor. If you didn't tell me that there was an acting school, I would have just been like, yo, this is amazing.
I remember you came to multiple events we had. Yeah. Man, you're so supportive, man. By the way, this is getting real deep real quick, and this is the best, man. Man, you took it, like, usually we build up, but we're going straight to climax. This is great.
Nah, man, I got more. Don't worry.
I know. Well, and, like, so taking it back, like, you talking about, and thank you for the kind words, man. I really.
No, dude, you're an amazing actor, and I want you to receive all the accolades. I want to give you your flowers while you're fucking here, while you're in front of me, because you fucking deserve all of them, man, for real.
You're amazing comic and artist yourself, so which we will get into.
Thanks.
So thank you, man. Good. And that's what I love about you, man. It's just like every interaction I've had, it's just been nothing but good vibes and good energy. And also, God, I don't know where to begin because you opened up this thing where we can go like 20 different directions. But back to the expression thing for a sec. Like, one thing I found, and it's probably like this in other cities too, but out here especially, there's a lot of people, quote unquote, trying to make it. But there's also, I feel, another subset of that maybe they're trying to make it, but you realize that this is who they are and they have to do this. It's like it's no longer, it's not that they're choosing, no, like they have to. There's something inside of them that they have to let out. It's therapy.
The lead singer of Imagine Dragons said something akin to that. I don't know the guy's name, but he's cool. He had a quote where he was like, you don't do music because you want to do music. You do music because you have to do music. And I find that fascinating. As someone who, I'm surrounded by those types of people, the ones who like they have to do this. They have to do this. And more importantly, they have to monetize it. And that's where my disconnect sort of is from the thing. I'm here for the humanity. That's all I'm here for. I'm here for just that. I'm here for just I had this thing where when I was a kid, for context, I was not cool. I mean, I wasn't like a loser or anything. Not what. Okay, that's a bad way to describe people because I don't want to classify people. I wasn't like the guy who was like, everywhere. However, I was the person who was talking to everyone. Like I had a really interesting high school experience because like nobody in my school, we didn't have cliques, if that makes, because like I don't know if you experienced this, but if you go to elementary school with everyone, you kind of know everyone. You know what I mean? Like you went to elementary school, middle school, you kind of know everyone. Yeah, that was kind of the vibe that my high school had. Like we knew who everyone was. We all went to elementary school together, or maybe not elementary school, but definitely middle school because it was right across the street. Right. And it was a thing of like, I would just talk to everyone. I just wanted to know what it was like to be everyone. I wanted to know what it was like to be a drama kid, what it was like to be an improv kid, what it was like to like be part of like the French club, what it was like to be part of like the health club. I did cross country. I talked to like everyone because I just always wanted to just see the humanity in people because I always like felt like an outsider in a weird way. And it was like, I know objectively how I'm feeling is probably just like, it can't be like I'm the only person who's like alone. People do that. Like when you're like, because when you're like one of those like people who's like maybe just a weirdo, because I'm definitely a weirdo. Like I'm a weirdo too. Right, we all are. Like it's just like, oh man, like is anybody else like I remember like this is gonna sound so stupid. I remember like thinking that because I watched anime as a kid, I was like, man, nobody understands me, and that's such a weird thing because we have no joke every July in the Staples Center. We have the biggest anime convention in the world, Anime X. That thing is huge. Tens of thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands. And it's just like, man, like nobody understands me because I watch anime, and it's like, stop, like just wait till July. I promise you. Then you'll feel like a real outsider because it's like, okay, I'm a weirdo, but not like that. There's a difference. Sidebar: did you watch Dragon Ball Z growing up? Oh, of course, Dragon Ball Z. Wasn't that such a great show? Easily, no, that was probably what set it all off for everyone. Like Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, Naruto. Just the basic stuff. Full Metal. You ever watch Full Metal Alchemist? That was the one that did it for me. That was the one that like really, like Dragon Ball Z was just cool, like light shows. Yeah. But Full Metal Alchemist, that thing made me cry. Like that was really? Oh my god. Yeah. No, I recommend it. It should be on Netflix if you haven't. Well, good thing Netflix. Full Metal Alchemist, you said? Yeah. Yeah. I'll send you the name of it after this. But if not that one, I know HBO. You have HBO Max? I'll give you my HBO Max. Like if you don't have it. That's quite a gift. HBO Max is amazing, by the way. I do not have one. My friend and neighbor Eric has it though, and we've watched several things on it. I'll still just give you my info just so you can watch it. It's amazing. Greatest! Wow, Christmas comes early on the podcast. No, there's just some good stuff on there. You can watch Euphoria and like a bunch of. They have a bunch of like. I would say their anime collection rivals Funimation because Funimation has all the anime. HBO Max has all the good anime.
Oh yeah,
You know
wow.
what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's you know what's crazy. During this past year, I watched the Justice League cartoons. I don't know if you ever caught those,
I fucking love those. There were so
dude.
many jokes that were not for kids.
Dude, thank
Yeah.
you. See, right now I feel understood because it's like I'm watching this, and the character development and the
Yeah.
writing is like genius. And then when you
Yeah.
get to season 3 or 4, when like who was it? Green Lantern finally expresses himself to Hot Girl after
Yeah.
so many subtle little hints of I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, see, look at
There was
that.
there's like a few shows I remember as a child that my dad was actually interested in. Like for context, my dad, just so you know where he came from,
Mhm.
went to art school, dropped out, was a mechanic, and then became a lawyer. That's like my
Whoa.
dad's trajectory. What is it? Like it's funny because like he has old sketchbooks, but my dad, he does have an interest in like anime and cartoons and stuff like that. But like obviously, real world being a parent, you put that stuff in the back burner. But there was a few cartoons I remember my dad was really into, and Justice League was one of them. The other show was Megas XLR, but I don't know if you remember that show.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, that one that one's more obscure, but Justice League, that was a show me and my dad could like get behind on and watch. It was really cool.
And I guess my point of bringing that one up was it really showed me the power of cartoons. Like people are like,
Yeah.
oh, cartoons or this or they're that. I'm like, no, there's actually a lot of intelligent, extreme. I mean, even
Yeah.
shows like Family Guy and like all these other
Yeah.
ones. Like
Easily. No.
great.
What you got to
writing.
do, is look, when I give you my HBO Max, because I will give it to you, watch Infinity Train. Everyone
What's it called?
it's called Infinity Train.
Infinity.
It's about children who go through some sort of issue and they end up in a train that each train cart is its own universe. And in order to escape the train, they have to slowly learn lessons about life.
Whoa.
And the thing, hold up. Here's where it gets cool though. Each season will follow someone new, and it won't always be a child. There are seasons where you follow children who refuse to leave the train because they know, I don't want to go back to that. Let me just live on the train forever. And you follow their life. And it's a really interesting show. No joke. It got canceled because of the fact that it wasn't for children. It is a show that I tell everyone to watch. And everyone who's seen it, they're like, this is one of the best cartoons I've ever seen. It is so good. It's called Infinity Train. It's on HBO Max.
Wow, that's really up my alley. It sounds like a whole karma, birth and death, rebirth type of thing.
No, it is amazing. And it really, really like it bothers me that they got canceled because the creator of the show had like a bunch of stuff still planned. They got 4 seasons, and he's like, I have 4 more seasons left, but he's like, I couldn't do it. And he was like, before I tell you guys, he did an AMA on Reddit. He was like, before I tell you guys what I had planned, I'm gonna still stick it out. I have hope that somebody's gonna pick up the show, and as far as I know, no one has.
Wow,
it's such a good show. Like, it bothers me so much. That show is so good. But yeah,
well, I will definitely look forward to checking that out. And I'll have to say, on the last podcast, her name is JJ. She recommended Squid Game to me.
Oh God, no!
On Netflix, and I'm down to the last episode.
What do you think of it? I haven't seen it, but I know enough about it to where I'm like, I don't need this.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I watched that third episode. I'm like, I'm in.
That's fair.
I'm in. It's very violent. But one thing it definitely for me gets me thinking a lot about is just the appreciation of life. I don't want to ruin anything for you, but it's very violent. Lots of people.
No, for sure.
It just reminds me of like how fragile this thing is. You know what I mean?
For context, I do watch a lot of Korean cinema. Like I think South Korean cinema is better than American cinema, easily.
Parasite though. Parasite came from South Korea, right? That movie.
Parasite came from South Korea. Have you ever seen Old Boy?
No.
That is the quintessential. That is what will get you. At least that's what got me into Korean movies. Watch Old Boy. Just for context, here's the plot of it. The plot is this guy gets kidnapped, just from the middle of the street. He gets kidnapped, and then he gets locked, put in a cell, and he stays there for about 15 years. Doesn't get an answer why. And then one day, they feed him. He's stuck in that cell though for 15 years, and then he finally hears a voice through like a recording. A guy lets him out and says, "I trapped you here for 15 years. Find out why." And it's a fucking hell of, it's really crazy. Like, you're watching it the whole time. You're like, this is like, you want to see depravity. You want to see humanity at its lowest. Old Boy. Like, that is the movie that completely sold me on South Korean cinema. And it sucks because they made an American remake with Josh Brolin, and it was awful. It was so bad.
Oh,
so bad.
No, I want
the
original. I want the original.
You got to watch the. I want to say it's on HBO Max. I could be wrong about that, but it's so good.
Old Boy. Wow, you're dropping gems early on into this. Well, and one thing I wanted to ask you too is, like, we were talking in the pre-show room. As far as people in LA, I mean, you, from my understanding, grew up for the majority of your life out here, right?
Yeah, I moved here from New York. I grew up in Manhattan. Like, spent the first 9-10 years of my life.
Okay.
And I moved out here in third grade. So I've been here ever since third grade. So I would say yes.
Okay. What was it like growing up in the Los Angeles area for you? That experience like?
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I live in a town called Santa Clarita, which, if you look up on a map, here's LA, and then on the outskirts, that's Santa Clarita.
It's a cool place.
Santa Clarita, just so you can understand when I say this, it is a void. It is surrounded by mountains, and the only way to it is through the highways. So the 405, the 5, the 210, they all converge into one highway, the 5. And at that convergence, that's where Santa Clarita is. There's only one way into this town. And it is an interesting place. Not bad. Actually, it's the opposite of bad. It's great. I love it, actually.
It's a beautiful area.
No, it's so nice. No, this is here's the thing. So Santa Clarita it's like, this is going to sound weird. It's like a Disney Channel suburb. Like, it's so jarring because it's like everyone who grows up here that I know, we all can objectively admit that this place is super safe and it's super boring. And that's by design. So like my dad, for example, my dad grew up in Washington Heights, New York, right? And one of the things was he obviously grew up very poor. Like, my grandparents are immigrants. He did the struggle to get himself out. And when you grow up in a very horrible city environment, your goal is to always move to the suburbs. So my dad found the suburbs, and we have some family out here, which is why we came to California. But yeah, he settled in Santa Clarita, and I'm thankful that he did, because this place, it's so safe and so nice, and it's almost hard to extrapolate what that is like. But it's a nice area. The thing is, I didn't really start exploring LA until 2018, because I didn't leave Santa Clarita. Yeah, because the thing about Santa Clarita is you need a car to get around everywhere in LA, and that goes double if you live in the suburbs. And I can tell you a lot about Santa Clarita, and I can tell you a lot about LA, but my knowledge about LA is about 3 years old. Because while I grew up out here, again, if you look up on a map where Santa Clarita is, it is on the far reaches of LA. It is on the outskirts. It is in the boonies. It is the last destination before you get to Bakersfield, which is an hour away. And it is it's a cool spot. Like, if you're ever trying to raise a family, or if you're a celebrity, like, a lot of people live in Santa Clarita that are Hollywood types, because no paparazzis are allowed here. And they have a very strict, no dispensaries, no strip clubs. Everything shuts down at 9 o'clock, roughly 9 or 10. You have, nothing loud past 10 o'clock. And in general, everyone, I have friends from Orange County, and you could describe that as a suburb, but Orange County and every other city, they're all connected because they're still part of the city. But Santa Clarita, again, you need a car to leave it because it's so far outside of LA. It's just a very interesting place to grow up. Good place, though. I would recommend everyone to come here. It's a great, we need more of a nightlife out here, though. Jesus Christ. We have emo night, though. That's pretty fun. I don't know if you're into My Chemical Romance, but we got that.
What's it
That's
called?
pretty cool. Some places will do emo night.
Oh,
Like,
emo night.
yeah, where they play like My Chemical Romance. What's it
Yeah, they were
called?
a great band back in the day.
They're performing. They
Are they
do live
still
shows.
okay? Yeah, shows how the loop I am. Uh,
No. It just started though. But like they last year they were like reunion, baby. And obviously all the people my age and everyone who grew up on My Chemical Romance and straightened their hair in high school was like, I'm in. And tickets immediately sold out. And I'm jealous. And they're supposed to perform next month. I don't know if that's still happening, but we'll see.
what was their number? I swear to you, I listened to that huge hit they had. That one.
Like Parade,
I could have been. I can't remember. It was on MTV like all the time.
Helena. I can tell you their whole discography. They're good. Besides Danger Days, the last album they produced was awful. But My Chemical, like Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge, Black Parade, classics, certified classics. I don't care where you were in 2007 or 2008. You were listening to those. You were listening to My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, and you were watching Transformers, and just
man,
God, the nostalgia is real, man. Oh my God. It's
well, one more
wacky.
thing I'll say to you about Santa Clarita real quick. Well, first of all,
Yeah.
and I've gone to Santa Clarita, quote unquote, Valencia. Is it Santa Clarita, Valencia? Is it two separate places, or do you guys
No. So Santa Clarita is the name of the whole city, but we have like different sections. There's Valencia, Saugus, Stevenson's Ranch, Canyon Country, which is where I live, and even within those, there's pockets. So in Valencia, you have Stevenson's Ranch, which is where a lot of wealthy people live.
Six
in
Flags,
Valencia,
right?
what?
Six Flags is in Valencia.
Yeah,
right?
Six Flags. Yeah, Six Flags is there. Yeah, which is I'm so sick of that place. I went to it too many times as a kid, but it's cool, great place. But yeah, no, like if you say Valencia, that's the same thing as saying Santa Clarita. It's just that there's a bunch of sections. Because fun fact, the population of Santa Clarita is equal to Salt Lake City. That's how big this place is.
Whoa.
But yeah, it doesn't feel like it at all though. Like we have like I think like 5 or 6 high schools, but again, it doesn't feel like it because like really you can get across town in like 15 minutes. Like it's not like it's really not that hard. Like it's a very small town.
Big wide streets.
Yeah, very unwalkable. Like it's a thing of like I remember I would like go to just random people's like houses, like friends of friends, and we would all be like, "Oh, do you know like Anna from like this place? Oh, dude, of course I know her. She's friends with this guy. Oh yeah, like everyone's one friend away from knowing everyone, as long as you're like, because everyone like, what's the word? If you go to someone your age and being like, oh, I went to this school. Oh, okay. Like I remember I had that happen to me. Like I remember like last year, I was just talking to a girl. Like what is it? She was doing this like charity volunteer thing. She was trying to make her own like charity and stuff. And I met her at an art space. And we were just like talking and stuff. And like I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And then the topic of like, you know, school brought up. And I was like, oh yeah, I just went to Hart. She was like, wait, I went to Hart. And I'm like, wait, what year did you graduate? And I was like, I graduated like 2012. I graduated 2013. And we were like, wait a minute, who do you know? And then we just started listing off names. And I knew some of the people. And it was interesting because like she's someone I just thought, you know, she was just another LA person. But like, nah, she grew up in Santa Clarita. And I was like, that's wild. And yeah. Like, talk to other Santa Clarita people. They'll have very interesting opinions about this place. Like, you love to hate it. You love to hate this place because it's, Jesus Christ, my God, suburban hellscape.
I never watched the series, but I think there was a series called Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah, it's about a bunch of zombies. It's about a bunch of, middle-class family happens to be run by zombies or something. I never watched it either, but I thought it was cool. I'm like, oh, the rent's about to go up. Oh no! Oh no! They're putting Santa Clarita on the map.
Everyone's gonna move to Santa Clarita.
Fun fact: we are the 13th fastest growing city in the country, which is terrifying.
Dude, I think you have now become the unofficial spokesman of Santa Clarita.
No, God, no, fuck no, I don't.
You know a lot about Santa Clarita. Like you know more than any person I've known.
Because I've been here. I've been here since 9 years old. Like most of everyone I know is like nobody ever knows about Santa Clarita. Like it's wild. Everyone I talk to, whenever I bring up that I'm from Santa Clarita, they're like, "Holy crap, you drive far to be here." Everywhere I go, because Santa Clarita is again on the outskirts. And when I talk to them about like they don't know anything about this place. Like they don't know. Like I have friends that are in Long Beach. I've been to Long Beach though. I can tell you things about it. You have the the center. You have the Queen Mary. Okay, cool. I have friends that live in Alhambra. That's a really cool spot. I wish I lived there. Yeah. And, you know, I could tell you some stuff about there. I know no one who's ever, like, come to Santa Clarita recreationally.
Well, you know what's cool about that place, though? And first of all, yeah, I mean, it's awesome you got to grow up there, because I always said if I were going to have a family in this area, Santa Clarita would be at probably the top of the list.
No. It's 100%. I can tell you everything. It is a great place to raise a family. Not a good place when you get older. Hence why I don't like it.
Right. Well, and then it also, yes, you're outside LA, and yes, when major traffic hits, it can be a bear getting back in. But really, what, 25 minutes, you're basically in the valley.
Yeah, no, you're done. Yeah, it's easy.
So it's a nice spot to be. You're close enough, I guess. Yeah, you're not right next door to it, but
yeah,
you're pretty close.
That's how I look at it. Like the valley, like everything to get to Hollywood is about half an hour. Anything in the valley is about 20-25 minutes.
That's not bad at all.
No, it's not. Like, again, it's all highway, so it's not even like that bad. Like that's why I'm like I don't drive that much. I do drive a lot because I'm going to, like, you know, Hollywood and stuff. Like downtown is far to me, but like Pasadena, that's not far to me. That's like Pasadena is about a 40-minute drive.
You probably take the back way too to Pasadena.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Yeah, like no traffic. So it's like I don't mind driving. I have audiobooks. I have music that I listen to. I listen to like one new album a week. So I'm always like digesting like a ton of music. Mm. So like I honestly don't mind driving at all. Like I like it, but I do hate I just hate traffic though. Like with a passion, I hate it with a passion. God, I hate traffic.
And there's definitely traffic out here.
It's awful.
But I'm like you too, because I've driven a lot for work and stuff. And audiobook, music, catching up with people. I mean, it's also a meditation in a way too. I've found there's been times, especially out here, you know, and you're naming Alhambra, you're naming all these different places. One of the things I do love about LA is there's just so many different worlds here. Yeah. In one spot. Like your world, Santa Clarita, is a world. Like I'm over here in North Hollywood. That is a world.
You're close.
Alhambra is a world. Pasadena is a world. That's what I love about. There's so many like unique places just all bunched up together.
That was honestly why I left Santa Clarita. Let me phrase that. When I say left, I mean like I still live here. I've never lived anywhere else. But like when I like go venturing and go to these art spaces, one of the things is like this is I don't know if this is just a suburban thing or not, but I have this thing where like I know what type of person lives in this area. I know what they're like. That's cool. They're not bad people. I want more. Mm-hmm. Like, because there's this area is very privileged in a way, and that's not a bad thing. That's just a thing, though. It's just a thing. You know, people live in the suburbs. They do certain stuff that is like cool. So like, an example would be, very commonly people would go to Coachella. Like it's just a thing you do because it's, you know, it's a very middle to upper class area, and middle to upper class children like to go to music festivals and stuff like that. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm cool with that. I just don't necessarily have the means to drop $500 at a moment's notice for a concert. And that was just like not that most of my friends did that, but it was a thing of like, yes, a lot of people would do that. And like I'm not into raves or any like huge things like that. But I remember like I was like there was a certain point, I think when I was like 20 or 21, where I was like, I've met what this place is like. I know the people here, they're good people. You know, it's a suburban place. I honestly don't have a problem with them. But that said, I'm only seeing one type of person at this place. And I know that sounds super shallow and super conceited and super like, it's just that like if you grow up around an environment and you can look at the environment and see this is what the people around here are like, and I'll talk to people and I'll, you know, again, nice, super cool people. I just wanted to see more. What is it like from the people that grew up in Long Beach, people that grew up in Carson, folks that grew up in Compton? Like, what are they like? Like, what about people who grew up in Pasadena or Alhambra and other suburbs? And I'm just like, it's cool because it's like, in a weird way, no matter where you go, we're all still the same, but just the way we were brought up is just different, you know?
I love that, man. But and I think you, if you ever do a podcast, I think a great podcast would be you talking to people all the different places here in LA. I mean, just LA County. Shoot, I mean, you could just do that for tons of episodes. But yeah, I agree with you. It's and I grew up in a small town in the Midwest, and
weren't you in Vegas? I thought they were in Vegas.
I moved here from Vegas, but I grew up in Illinois in a small town called Canton.
Wait, which part? Champaign? Where we're at?
Oh, you know Champaign?
Yeah, I had a job out there. What is it once?
Whoa!
No.
You lived in Illinois?
No. I didn't live anywhere.
Oh,
I had a job prior to the pandemic. I had a job where I was inspecting slaughterhouses and food farms, and as a result of that job, I would have to travel extensively. And on I was mostly on the West Coast. But on some occasions, I would have to go to the Midwest. And one of the places that I spent time in was like Champaign, Illinois. And I was like, this is a college town. It seems kind of dead. But it was cool. Like, it was all right. And then, I went to Indianapolis, and that seemed kind of fun. Like, Indianapolis seemed really cool from what I saw of it.
Yeah, Champaign. I had some buddies go to University of Illinois, and I definitely I partied there. It's a big university, but yeah, I'm from about hour and maybe 45 minutes north of that. But the terrain and everything, like Champaign, that's basically where I'm from.
Like an hour north. That would be like, isn't that like heading towards Chicago?
Heading towards Chicago. That's wild. But not quite. Yeah,
that's interesting.
I'm from the middle of the state, pretty much.
That is interesting.
By Peoria, Illinois. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Peoria. Yeah. You got the fucking the bridge, right? The bridge that separates.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's crazy, dog. That's a nice.
What's it like? What's Peoria like? Because I have one friend that lives out there.
Really?
I don't know anything about that place. Again, I've only been to Champaign, Illinois, but Peoria looked cool as fuck.
Yeah, no, Peoria was a great. And I'm from a town called Canton, which is 30 minutes outside. But we wanted to go do like certain things, we would go to Peoria because that's
it's like right at 30 minutes. Yeah, it's right there.
30 minutes. That's when I fly back home. That's where I fly into. Is Peoria Airport. Yeah, we live like 30 minutes from Peoria Airport.
Well, what's that like, actually? Actually, that sounds really fascinating. You're a small town person.
Yeah, but I'm relating it to your Santa Clarita experience. Yeah. Similar, like that's all I knew for, and even my college. I went to the local junior college. Played a couple years of basketball there. Then I transferred to the university, Western Illinois, which is 45 minutes away. So it really wasn't, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I got to that point, though, where I'm like, I had an opportunity. Some buddies were going to University of Arizona at the time, and they're like, hey, we know you just finished up with school. We need another roommate out here in Tucson, Arizona.
Nice.
You want to come out? And I just said yes. I just said yes.
As you should. Yes, as you should. Maybe do it. Yeah.
But bringing it back to growing up in a smaller town, a beautiful experience, safe, amazing people.
Nice. Cool people.
But also, with that being said, you are limited in some capacities as far as being exposed to different things, I would say.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. You only know like what you know. That's what it is.
You only know what you know. And then
there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, yeah.
And I will say this, I love it there in the fall time especially, but I said my senior year of college when it was -9 degrees.
Fuck that.
And I had to use a lighter to de-ice my car. Key thing. I said, never again. I'm heading to where palm trees and sunshine are. It started with Arizona, then it ended up being Vegas for almost 8 years, and now it's been LA for 4.
How was Vegas, actually? Like, how did you go from Tucson to Vegas?
It was incredible. It's an incredible. I consider it my second. It like Canton's my home. Yeah. Vegas is also a home. It was an amazing ride, man. First 2 years was a complete party. I was lucky to have survived. Then I did so many things there. That's where I really got into media, filming things. Did a lot of music stuff. Like all really, it was really my artistic breeding ground for me to come out here. Really.
Wow, that's wild.
And to this day, everyone thinks the Vegas Strip, which that's always there, but there is. I think you would dig the art scene there too. There's a lot of dope art things and
no. You'll have Container Park. I wanted to go there.
Park. Yeah, it's a cool spot.
Y'all have you been to Omega Mart? Have you gone there recently?
What's it called?
Omega Mart. Have you been to that?
No, where's that at?
It's in Area 15. It's in Area 15. It's near
Area 51. Area 51.
Yeah, No, Area 15.
Oh, they call it Area 15. Okay.
They call it Area 15. It's this giant little megaplex.
I've heard. I know. I have not been to that.
You should go. Hey, look, you should go to Omega Mart. You want to see some trippy art stuff? That is the place where you should go. 1000%.
Did you
Omega
go?
Mart? Oh yeah, me and my friend. What is it? So what is it? One of my friends. What is it? Her name is Megan. She was talking about like, yo, it's been a while since we've hung out. And like, let me phrase it. Like, this is a friend of mine. This is a good friend of mine. But like, we just haven't hung out like in a while, like as in like just us two or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, we should go to San Diego. And I'm like, oh, you want to hang out? If that's the case, let's go to Vegas. And so she was like, what's in Vegas? And I told her about this art collective called Meow Wolf. They have these amazing giant art installations all over the country. And their newest one at the time was Omega Mart. It was this cosmic supermarket type of abstract idea, and it's huge. It's like, I think it's like, I don't know, it's like the size. I'm not good with square footage, but it's a giant cosmic grocery store, and it's in this place called Area 15 in Vegas. And also on the second floor, they have this thing called Winkle World, made by one of the Blue Man Group guys.
What?
And it's just a giant like psychedelic. Like I don't do drugs anymore. And like, and it's
I like
just
the pause anymore.
Gotta pause. Anyways, and it's just like that place, you feel high. And they have other places all around the country. They have the transit station, which is supposed to be this like 4-dimensional station for Earthlings and other type of beings and stuff. It's just art. It's like, you know how like you'd go to Burning Man and you'd find a bunch of trippy psychedelic stuff. Yeah. It's like that, but brought to like a place. It's like if Adult Swim was a place. That's actually like it's like if Adult Swim was a place, and they have different kinds of spots. I recommend just look up Meow Wolf if you get the chance. Look up Meow Wolf.
Man, you've given so many great recommendations.
Trust me, I live my life in such a way to where I see good art all the time. Yeah. That's all I want.
Oh no, that's why when you tell me you got to see Old Boy, I'm gonna watch that movie. If you're telling me I need to see that, and I haven't seen many South Korean films, but the ones I've seen have been incredible.
No, they're amazing.
The actors are great, dude. Even Squid Game, Parasite was incredible, obviously, but Squid Game, I'm watching. I'm like, these actors are really good. I'm like, they're really, really good.
Easily, they're amazing. No, like South Korean cinema, what they're able to do is what I think American cinema can't do, which is they allow their actors to get dirty. They allow their actors to, like, you're not going to, like, there's, like, the only movie I've seen where you actually had an actor get, like, dirty, get shuffled, get, like, you know, like, you see them, like, take a beating is Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant. And that was, like, that's what won him the Oscar. But, like, that's just a normal day in Korean cinema. Like, you want to see someone out in the woods, you're going to see that. I will stand behind. Korean cinema is just amazing. Just really good. Really weird at times, but really good.
Wow. Gives you perspective too that there's things outside the United States, right? Like
I
think a lot of times us here in America, we think it like this is it, but you realize.
Have you traveled outside before? Have you gone abroad? God damn it, man!
Have
you got to do that. Yeah, I spent I went to Asia actually when I was like 21 years old. I went alone. I solo traveled. I spent a month in Thailand and then a month in Japan. It was wild. It was good times.
So what did that do to your perspective, like traveling?
So check it out. So I was 21. Yeah. I got into a car accident, and like most people, I have a dash camera. And if you don't have a dash camera, I highly recommend getting one because my God, again, like I'm gonna sound like a douche, but like I really do. I get a dash camera. It's so helpful. Oh my God, it's like $70. It'll save your life. Anyways, got a dash camera. We got into a car accident, showed my insurance agent the footage. He was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're not at fault at all. Here's $4,000 because that's how much my car cost. And I realized at the time, I was like, boy, I should probably just get another used car. But I also really want to travel. And I knew that at the time I was like, because I've always just wanted to leave Santa Clarita. I've always wanted to just like leave and just be on my own. And just like, because I have never been on my own, which is like, I hate it. But that's what you do. I pretty much got that $4,000 and just bought like a ticket to Thailand, and then I bought a ticket to Japan, and I went up there. I stayed at a bunch of hostels. I did drugs. Had a bunch of fun. Like, met a bunch of cool people, and it was funny because like, so I'm 21 years old, and I'm like ignorant as hell because you're 21
I was
years
too.
old, right? And it's the thing. Like, I remember going to, like, so I have friends I still keep in contact with from this day. This is back in 2016, mind you. This is summer of 2016. So I remember I was going to like Thailand and stuff, and I would meet like local people, local folks who are Thai, and same age as me. And we would just be like talking and shit, and they would understand every reference that I'm throwing out. It was interesting. I was like, oh yeah, like, you guys watch like Fast and Furious? Oh, I fucking love Fast and Furious. I'm like, what? Like, you know, like, because American thing about America is they export their culture very well to the point where I'm sure people are like sick of Americans abroad, like, because it's just it's like America just all we do is export our culture. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I just remember like I was like, this is gonna sound ignorant, but like I remember thinking to myself, I was like, man, do people even have PlayStations? And then I went over to my friend's house, and she had a PlayStation, and I was like, oh my God, you guys have this shit. And again, I'm 21 years old. I'm stupid. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just a fucking brown dude going to a fucking like Southeast Asian country where I don't know the language. I'm just traveling. In my head, I'm be all right because, you know, why not? And yeah, and I met a bunch of cool people. I still keep in contact with like friends. My homie from New Delhi, I like how he was also ignorant about stuff like this because he was like, yeah, I'm from India. I don't know anything about Asia, like that side at least. Like, let's go and figure this out together. He was cool. Right. My homie on Shul. Shout out my homie on Shul. And shout out my friend Patsuda. She's really nice. She lives in Belgium now. And then the thing was, I remember like after that, I was there for a month, just, you know, having some shenanigans and stuff. And then I went to Japan because it was like I think it was like $400 just to like go from like, you know, like Thailand to Japan. And then to go from like Japan, like Tokyo to LAX is a very like, that's such a common route. It's like I'll phrase that. It would be more expensive to go from Thailand to LA than it would be to go from LA to, you know, like Japan, like vice versa, you know?
Right.
It's a bit closer. So I went to Japan and I got lost day one. I was like, I'm not going to lie to you. I was so sad. I was like, my God, I'm so tired of this traveling stuff. I'm here for a month. And again, I'm by myself and I'm just like, this is going to sound weird, but like it was hard because I couldn't, people there in Thailand, people spoke English. In Japan, it was a bit harder because not everyone spoke English. I didn't expect that. But it was cool. I was working at a hostel. I was at a hostel and like that was nice because I got to like, I had a home base, which was cool. I was just like vacuuming and like they fed me and they would let me stay at the hostel for free. There's a website you can look this up at. I think it's called, what's the website that I use? It was called Global Travelers or something. I don't know. Anyways, worked at a hostel. Never saw Mount Fuji, and I went to Mount Fuji. Never saw it because it was always like raining and cloudy. Like the whole month I was just there, it was like just always cloudy, except for maybe like one day. But I just remember like I ran into a lot of Australians in Japan because Australians, they go to Japan for like it's right there. That's where they go for fun. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be too far from them, would it?
Not at all. So you have a lot of Australians there. And they were just, man, I've never met an Australian person before that. They are just such fun people. Like, it's like a giant frat house. Like, my God, these guys were so nice. Like, the salt of the earth. I don't know. I love those people.
I think they travel a lot, too. Like, it's in their culture to, like, go travel. Go.
Yeah, no, 90% of Australia is uninhabitable. They got to travel. Like, the entirety of their society is on the coast. Like that's it. Like they just for context, by the way, fun fact, Australia has a dingo fence, like a fence to keep away the dingoes, that is longer than the distance from New York to London.
No,
look it up. It's a real thing. They have a dingo fence.
What?
Because apparently dingoes are a problem. Yeah, it's a fun fact. Australia is a whole ass continent and 90% of it is uninhabitable. Like, that's wild.
I didn't realize. Yeah, no, I believe it because when they said, because the world map is deceiving.
Yeah,
they're like, no, Australia's the size of the United States land mass.
Yeah, it's huge.
And there's only cities on the outside. All that in between.
Yeah,
who knows what craziness lies? I mean,
exactly. You can't. It's uninhabitable. Like,
yeah.
Like it's like there's a reason that like when you look up photos of Australia, you see like spiders that can fly and you see like
there's like flying foxes and shit.
Yeah, they got they got exploding trees out there. Like,
exploding trees?
Not when it gets hot enough, the trees explode or some stuff like that. Like, and it sends out wood shrapnel that could kill you. And it's like, this is a wasteland. Like, this is no man should live here. Why do you guys even live out here? Like, all the crazy stuff that we see of Australia, that's the habitable part. That's the habitable part. Imagine the parts that you don't even see. I can't even imagine that. You know what I mean?
I want to experience the world, but I have no desire to go to that part.
Same.
No, and I saw a YouTube. Huh?
No, sorry. Go on.
I saw a YouTube video once. This was in South America. There's parts of South America I'm sure I would love, but there was this part in particular. I don't know if it was the Amazon or wherever it was. It was a YouTube video. It's probably still up. Python eats alligator.
Oh, I think I've seen that video.
Dude, I saw that and I said, that's incredible, but wherever that's at, I don't want to go.
No, you know what's crazy? Is like there's a place I really want to go to. It's called the City at the Edge of the World. It is the final destination before people go to Antarctica. Because the way you go to Antarctica is like you have to travel down to like the tip of like South America.
Yeah.
I want to say it's this place called Urshala. I don't know the name of it, but it's called the last city on Earth. And I just want to go there because I just want to see what it looks like to be in that weird twilight zone where it's like in front of you is Antarctica, which we don't know anything about. I mean, we know like some stuff about it, but like it's a weird place.
That's a whole other conversation we could have because I have a few things to say about that.
Dude, I looked, what was it? One of my homies, his dying wish was to go, well, it was from afraid that it's not he's dead. He's still alive. One of my homies is like wish, he's like, before I die, I want to see Antarctica. And I was looking it up and I was like, that's just a plane in my head. This is like a few months ago. I'm like, this was a plane right away, right? And apparently it costs $10,000 to go to Antarctica. Like, at least that's what I looked up because you have to like, accounting for travel, you have to account for the cruise, or rather the ship, that goes through this thing called the Drake's Passage to get you to it.
And I don't know the size of it, but it's huge. Like it's huge.
It's ginormous.
And this is me. I don't want us getting caught up in all these types of theories, but
yeah.
I mean, dude, I've read shit like his name was General Admiral Byrd. He went there. I'm paraphrasing all this, but basically he went there, saw some stuff, and it was like crazy. I don't know. And some people claim that there's woolly mammoths down there, and like all this other stuff. But it's like you can't say that they're not because it's so big and so unexplored, and so that's it. And so it's interesting.
Well, they actually,
city,
I don't know if you heard, but they just discovered an 11 million year old shark off the coast of Japan.
What?
Yeah, like fun fact: sharks are older than trees and older than the rings on Saturn. Sharks are an old species. And like they just found a shark that's like off the coast of Japan that they thought was extinct, but it was like millions of years old.
Are you telling me that this shark, they found a fossilized shark from 11 million years?
No, still it was alive.
This shark has been living for 11 million years.
No. The species of that shark.
Okay.
No. That shark, no. They're not jellyfish. Like jellyfish are immortal. Sharks are not. It's just that species of shark was thought to be extinct because, again, sharks are very, very old. A lot of aquatic life on Earth is very, very old. And, like, sharks are one of those species that's just super fun. It's just always been around. And, like, this one species of shark was, like, 11 million years old. And they were like, I thought the species was extinct. How is this even still possible? And it's just moving around. Still kicking.
I'm still here. Well, think about it too, man, because if there was an asteroid or whatever caused the destruction of dinosaurs and all that, whatever was in the ocean wouldn't have been affected by that as much.
Not one bit. No,
so that's why when I see like Godzilla movies and like these movies of crazy stuff coming out of the water, dude, we have not even gotten close to discovering the ocean, man.
Oh, facts. Like that's the thing of like, you know that one sound, like the bloop or whatever it's called, like that one. There was this sound. You could look it up. It's called the bloop or whatever. Actually, a better example would be the wow signal, if you know about that one. Every once in a while, because you have oceanographers, you have like marine biologists, and to parallel that, you have astronomers, and you have like people that look up at the sky. We have satellite and radio waves to look into these sort of things And we always get these like weird noises that we can't explain. And we always jump to like, oh, it's probably like either aliens or some weird species that we don't know about yet. We go to something organic. We go to something biological because we just want to believe that like there's still some cool shit left. You know what I mean? We just want to believe in that magic. And also, side note, like we haven't had nothing yet in relation to aliens or like ocean stuff. But I mean, I'm sure we're going to get something hopefully soon. We have nothing yet, but I want to believe, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why,
Yeah, it is fun to think about, you know. It's like we think we know everything, but do we? When you really look at, I mean, our existence as civilization is really not even a second of a blip compared to how long. I mean, dude, that's why like when I hear about civilizations like the Atlantis and stuff like that, some say it's made up, some say it was real, but the thing is, we don't know. Who knows? Maybe there is an Atlantis under the ocean, and it was these people that tapped into different powers of the human.
You never know.
You know,
it's fun. It's fun to think about. Like I think people are just tired of like, you know what it is? I think people are just like, again, you just want to believe, man. You just want to believe. Okay, I've seen what's on the surface of Earth. Okay, like, let me see what's out there. Let me see what's on Mars. Let's find that out. You know, fuck it. Like, let's take a picture of a black hole. Like, I just think like it's like, because you know, if you think about it, one of the saddest things is we're only here for such a short amount of time, and in that short, like, imagine you're on your deathbed. Like, I think just imagine you're like 90-year-old Sam, just like, oh man, I lived a good life, you know. Mm-hmm. And then out of nowhere, you just see like aliens dropping down, and you're like, fuck, and you just die. And it's like, no, no, I want to be there for that. You know
that should be in your comedy bit. That's funny.
It should be, shouldn't it? Like, just imagine it though. Like, imagine like all the cool shit we'll see in our lifetime. And like, I think about that. Like, some guy's gonna be bored when they go to the moon. Like, somebody's gonna be like, just like, oh, okay, space tourism, whatever. Like, it's gonna be like as boring to them. Like, it's gonna be cool for us. For the first, but that novelty's gonna wear off. You know.
Like, this, I've already been there. This place sucks.
I feel like I'm slowly describing what a coke addiction is like. It's like, man, this sucks. I want to make this more exciting. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, dude! I tell you what, man. If I ever end up for some reason doing any type of travel show, you have to come be a co-host on it. I think you'd be,
dude. Please, man.
You'd be a great person to like, because you're so curious. I love that about you.
We're all curious, man. Like, man. I have not seen it. You guys, I still live in the same town I grew up in. That's what drives all of my curiosity. I'm going through this stuff with a childlike sense of wonder, man. I'm just, God, yeah.
I love it, man. And dude, honestly, like already we're like this. What I love about you is this could literally go a billion different directions, which I love. I do want to touch on stand-up comedy.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, if I really have never asked you, what got you into comedy? What was your comedy journey?
So my comedy journey was, you know, it's like if you knew me in like middle school, you'd say I was funny, but I think everyone's funny in their own way. But like just among my friends, I was always just making people laugh and stuff, you know, because I was like, I had this like, I didn't get enough attention at home, to be honest with you. So I just had like this deep need to like want people around me and for them to like me. I'm a people pleaser, and it's something that I'm working on. You know what I mean? Just real talk. And it's like, I was a funny person, and I had this like, past tense. I had this like hole in my heart to an extent that I was just like, oh, I need community. I need family, because I didn't have that growing up. You know, my parents were working and just had their own issues, you know what I mean? And then I think it was like 2016. Yeah. 2016 was when I really like started like, let me go and explore the comedy scene in LA. Let me, you know, because again, Hollywood's like only a half-hour drive. Let me go and check it out. And I did comedy, and it was horrible. I hated it, actually. I was like, this is not fun. There's no community to like, when people think of stand-up comedy, they think of like maybe some camaraderie or some like communal sense of like just a bunch of people in a room like laughing at each other. You know what I mean? Also, real quick, not every comedian has a tragic backstory. I just want to point that out. Like, I know a lot of people that came from dysfunctional homes, and they are not funny people. Just want to throw that out there. Like, not everyone who came from a bad home life is funny, or they're gonna be fun. Some people are just like, they're just not. They cope in their own ways. This was a coping mechanism for me, and then slowly, it just became something that I just did. I always did it. Let me just try to do it. And here's the thing. I did it for like hardcore for like a year. Like for a year, I was like, going to like 5 mics a week, because I also needed friends. Because this is like, how like after you graduate high school, all your friends go off to different colleges. You're trying to find yourself. You're doing that alone, and I was doing that alone. And so I didn't have any friends. So I was like, let me make friends in the comedy scene. Yeah, and no. Because like again, you think comedians were just all of us in a room just making each other laugh. That's not it at all. Most of comedy is just you in a room full of strangers with people who just want to go home. And then once they perform, they leave because they want to go home. And that's really what it is. And it's like, because again, everybody wants to be, I don't know if it's an LA thing, but everyone wants to be famous or whatever. And I'm not knocking that at all. I think it's a very noble goal. Like I hope everyone gets whatever they want to make them feel fulfilled and worthy. But yeah, I quit it because I was not making any friends, and I sucked at comedy because it's really hard to make humor out of nothing. And then I started going to this place called Palms Up Academy, which is you've been there before, and that was my first mic that I went to that it wasn't comedy based. It was just, hey, come up here and just perform. Say what's on your soul. And people really were saying what was on their souls. They were expressing themselves. And that spark, you know what I mean? Yo, I belong here, this is it. Like these are people that I want to be around. That's where I sort of was like, hey, you know what? Like while I'm here, let me do this art form again, because it's the only thing I know how to do, and I want to contribute to the space. And I did that, and I did comedy from that was in 2018. So I've been doing comedy for 2016, take a year break, 2018 to 20, it's about 4 years, roughly 4 years, give or take. However, when the pandemic hit and we started doing Zoom comedy, oh my God, it was a disaster. It was awful. It was just people in their rooms just ranting in their underwear. It was nuts. It was and you couldn't even tell if you were funny either. It was just so then I said, what? And then nobody would laugh. And it's is there a lag? No, you're just not funny. Okay. and it sucked. So I started doing music. So let me show you this thing real quick. So I got this thing.
I want to hear about that. The machine that you have.
So I had, this is only one of them, but I got into, I have no rhythm and I have no musical background whatsoever, but I like cool noises. So can you hear this?
Yeah.
So I have this 8-bit machine, and this is some music that I made with it.
Dude, that's amazing.
Anyways, but yeah, cool stuff. So
it's like a little portable music maker. I mean, you can just.
I actually have a bunch of them. I also have another one. I have this one.
What is it called?
These are called pocket operators. You should look them up. They're
pocket operators.
Yeah, they're $50 to $100 a pop. They're very affordable. I'm afraid that is a lot of money. For what they can do, I think they're very reasonable for the price. The cheapest one is about $50, I believe, and that one is just they have drum kits and stuff. This is their most expensive model right here. It's called the PO33. It's a sampler. So you could sample stuff. So for example, I would sample I sampled office equipment. So for example, I don't know if you can hear this.
Yeah.
I would just sample office stuff, and I'm all right, cool. This is a sound it could make. And yeah, I would just I just wanted to just expand my artistry, man. I'm tired of comedy, to be honest with you here. I realize I'll still do it and I'll make people laugh, but I'm I was scared of doing any other art form for a long time because I was well, I'm in this box. Let me stay in this box because I'm afraid to fail. And, then I'm you know what, though? I have a good support network and all my friends are artists, and I know they would cheer me on if I was just up on stage and didn't say a word. So let me actually try to learn something. Why not?
I got to read a quote to you really quick. I saw this yesterday.
Tell me.
It really hit home with me.
Tell
Let
me.
me see. Being an artist, there are periods where you need to study, to read, to contemplate, to meditate, and you need to dream. You don't need to produce every day of your life. Des enough was the person quoted. But
I thought it was Julia Cameron. Oh.
Yeah, it sounds like something she might say. But I think as artists, too, we feel this pressure like, I got to be. And social media is a gift and a curse, right? Because it gives you a great place to put stuff out, but it also puts pressure on, like, shoot, I haven't put something out in a while.
Yeah.
And I think we forget about the process. Like, you say you may want to stay away from comedy for a second, but go explore some other art forms. Go try some other things. And you know what? You'll probably come, maybe you will, maybe you won't, but you'll come back to it with a different perspective, maybe different.
Yeah.
And ready to exercise that muscle, maybe.
Pretty much. It's just a desire to just, like, we're all multifaceted human beings. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm always fascinated by, like, so I have there's this term, I think it's called Sonder. It's the realization that everybody else's life is just as vivid and creative as your own. I sort of struggle with this because, like, until someone tells me, like, some, like, I don't know, dark stuff they have going on in their life, I have a hard time seeing them as real. So I'm just like, oh no, but, like, everyone's their whole person. Everyone is real. Mm-hmm. And I always make sure to keep that in mind. So I know that, like, even though I'm seeing, like, anyone around me, like you, for example, I know you have your own crazy, you lived in Vegas for 8 years. Like, my parents had their own life before they had me. My grandparents were people. You were people. We are all people. Like, everybody, there's so much multifacetedness to people. And I feel like for some reason, probably capitalism, we only ever show the side of ourselves that is the most accepted and the most profitable. And it's like, just try to expand your horizons, try to be more knowledge, when's the last time you did something for the first time? I played music for the first time on stage like a month ago. That was scary, but time slows down when you're doing new stuff every day.
Man, that is a gem right there, man. That might be the podcast promo right there. That's so. Yeah, you're right. Like, you worded it very beautifully. Like, we're always showing the quote unquote most profitable version of ourselves. And that's, I think that's, tying it back to when, you're talking about some of these open mics and stuff. And you've been to way more than I have, but I've been to my share.
Come through, man. Come through.
Yeah. But, like, when you see someone spilling their guts.
Yes.
Of the most, like, vulnerable part about themselves, man, it really just pierces through all the bullshit. It just pierces through everything.
Yes.
Like, yo, this is humanity right here. There's no show, there's no lights and glamour, and, like, no, this is as raw as it gets. And there's something, and you get that through you get that through books, you get that through movies, you get that through comedy, you get it through poetry, so many different things. Music.
Yeah, pretty much. You're right. You are absolutely right. And it's a thing of, like, it's like there's this place called the Human Library. Well, it's not a place, it's more of an idea. Mm-hmm. And it's this organization where basically you have individuals and you can just go around and they'll just tell you their story. It'll range from, like, a 5-year-old to a Holocaust survivor. And it's just like these little mini short bites of, like, here is my life story. And you can ask me a question and I'll tell you about this thing. And they have an Instagram page. I recommend checking it out, Human Library. And yeah, you just, like, you get to see, like, just different facets of humanity. Because, like, I never wanted to be that person that in order to survive, they have to shut down parts of themselves to exist. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, once you stop seeing the humanity in yourself, you stop seeing the humanity in others. And that opens up a can of worms that, I don't know, could be generational in its effect. And, it's just important to realize that, like, again, like, everybody is their own person, and it's important to treat everyone as such. Like, you don't have to be anything you don't want to be. You're already worthy enough. You don't have to be lovable. You already are love. Everything you have is inside you. Granted, I need to take my own advice, so.
No, I feel you, and just relating it to where the part of the country we live, and knowing, a lot of people that are chasing these industries. One thing that turns me off, this is me speaking for myself, about quote unquote Hollywood.
Tell me, I love this because you're in it way more than I am.
Well, and I'm not even in it. I mean, not now. I mean, I'm because I had my injury this past year.
Oh, you okay?
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. But I had a pretty serious injury that I've been recovering from, but doing well, staying grateful. But it's given me a lot of chance to reflect on things, and I know this is part of the business, and I fully respect and admire all my friends and people I see going for the movie business and things like that. But there's just this artificialness to it, of like, I don't know what's real sometimes with some, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I loved what you said. People are putting out a version of themselves, and it's just not in this area. I mean, it can be in anything, but it just gets to a point, like, I realize in my life, like, I'm going to die. Like, it's happening for all of us. You're like you said, I hope it's at 90 and maybe some aliens land. I'm like, oh shit. But it's like, how do you want to, like, at the end of the day, you can only be honest with yourself. Like, you can put on whatever show you want for other people to think. And this is one thing, this is one of my criticisms of social media, is it's caused people, and I have fell victim to this, it makes them feel like they're not enough. It makes them feel like, I need to, well, I saw so-and-so post this, so that means I need to do this. And it's like, it's a really dangerous place, I feel. For people, especially when younger kids are now getting on social media before we did. And it's like, I don't like it. I don't like the mentality it gives people, like, you having to feeling this pressure that I gotta become what? Well, it's like, become what? Like, it's like, become much, this so these people might like you.
Yeah.
So I dig what you're saying with the authenticity.
Like there's some privilege to this, I feel, only because, like, it's easy to say that, like, I'm not into toxic positivity. Are you familiar with that term?
Is that like, I'm taking a guess, like, have a great day? I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. It's stuff like it's stuff like that, where it's just like people they ignore the realities of life in favor of just positive thinking and manifestation, kind of. Like, oh, you're having your parents, didn't love you enough, and, like, you don't have a lot of friends. Well, hey, maybe if you had a positive attitude, things will get better. And it's like, shut up. Like, there's a thing where people use positivity to shut down conversations on actual, like, issues that people have. And it's like, when I say to people that, like, hey, you are enough, you are worthy, you are loved, I know that I'm saying that as someone who has an abundance of friendships, saying that as someone who has a roof over their head, and someone who isn't, how can I phrase this? I'm not starved for like friendship or like companionship or care. Right. I mean, I am starved for, like, obviously, like, fucking human contact and intimacy, but that's a whole different thing, though. But, like, it's like, I just, like, the thing is, I know we're not all at the same points in life, and I try to be cognizant of that, because I know, like, to some people, when they hear certain things about, like, oh, like, it's like how, I'm afraid, people want you to be confident, but they really hate it when you fake that confidence. Does that make sense? And it's kind of like, I don't blame people who fake their confidence. I don't mind that. So I don't mind fakeness, as long as it's internal. As long as it's you being like, hey, I'm going to be positive, I'm going to do this, cool. But the moment that fakeness starts pushing that onto me or somebody else, then that's when I get bothered. Like, if someone has to, like, trick themselves into being happy, I'm cool with that. But if you have to trick me into liking you, then I don't want to be around you. And that's where I feel like the Hollywood people are. Their problems are external, and their problems are internal, and they're trying to make it external. And I feel like more people need to, again, if fake it till you make it, but please, dear God, don't preach to me how to live.
Yeah, and one lesson I really dig that. One lesson I've learned a lot lately is I no longer am seeking validation, and
Yeah, that
it
sounds like a
is
great place.
so freeing, man. When
I
I no
believe
longer seek validation, it just automatically gives you confidence because it takes away these things that were manipulating you to think you needed to be to have confidence. It's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
I don't need this to be that, or this person to like. I mean, it's cool if they like me, but it's also cool if they don't.
Yeah.
I'm me, and it really, in social media, I'll go back to it. It's created such a desire for validation. Like, validate me, with
Yeah.
likes and comments, and tell me how great I am.
Yeah.
It's
Man, I hope to get to that
interesting.
point at someday. That sounds awesome. When did you get to that point? How did you realize were you always there? How did you get to that point?
No,
Tell
no,
me.
no, 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 no. Oh man, this will have to be Pride Part 2. We talk about it.
Ah!
For me, I so I was called a narcissist and ego driven. I mean, I'll even go back 10 years, and I used to fight it. What do you mean ego driven? It's not like ego like I'm a douchebag ego. It was more just self-obsession. And as an artist, it's a fine line, right? Because in art,
Yeah,
you got to have some there's some ego driving
there is. No, for
the
sure,
artistry, right?
for
But
sure. It's like how every surgeon has to think that they are this amazing, powerful person because they're literally rescuing people from death.
Yes.
You have to be that. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
you
job
got to have
demand.
some confidence. You got to
Exactly.
have some.
Be real confident. Yes. I don't want an unconfident surgeon.
For me, with narcissism and what social media does, it always has you thinking about how you look. Like, how do I
agree.
look in this outfit? What do I look taking this picture? And I heard a brilliant quote the other day. It's actually Bill Maher said,
Wow.
but he said something interesting about how phones have taken over us. And he said, people are more concerned about getting a picture, making it look like they're having a good time, as opposed to actually having the good time. And I thought about that even in reference to like how I'm living my life. There's been times, and I'll admit, I'm living my life through social media. Like some of the things I was participating in doing, it's not that I didn't enjoy doing them, but I had to get pictures. I had to get video. I had to get this. And it's part of the game, but it's like how much I realized how much it took me out of the present moment and how I wasn't actually enjoying maybe some of the things I said, quote unquote, I was enjoying. And in terms of the physical images and stuff, and just always looking at pictures of yourself and how do I look in this and how do I look in that? Oh, I can't post that picture. That's my bad side. It's like, fuck, man, do you know how freeing it is to just let that go?
I believe it.
And that's why I loved what you said about when you start to do new things each day, life slows down. Because you're right. And I'm guilty of it. I get in routine.
Oh, we all do.
Yeah, and it's good and bad, right? It's good because you get productive, but also it also makes this stuff fly by very quickly.
It's the idea of like, just like when you're a kid, time is slow because everything's new. When you're an adult, you're stuck in a routine, so you got to break it out every once in a while. That's why, like, I'm at a point right now where, like, I like going to open mics because at least I'm going to see something new. You know what I mean? At least I'll see something new, and like, something will at least come up that I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, and you just never know. Because but yeah, sorry, go on.
Well, I agree, and also just relating it to, I don't know how we're getting toward the end here, so I don't know how much time we'd have to go into love and romance and things of that nature. Although, as we were talking pre-podcast, the last time we saw each other in person was actually, what was that? A love poetry night?
It was an erotic poetry workshop. My homie Aman, she puts these on. She's I believe she's a tantric healer. I think that's the term. And her, I want to say that's her roommate. That's her roommate Dale. Anyways, her and her roommate, they put on these erotic workshops, and just Just a good space to express eroticism openly, which I've never been to a space like that before. And I was like, hey, I think you'd enjoy this. And I also messaged a bunch of other friends that I'm like, hey. Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, no. It's not back by any chance, by the way. I think it's done. It's kind of sad. It's done as far as I know.
So are you saying that we got to explore the end of that space and energy at the
it
last
was only
time in
around
Chinatown?
That place was around for maybe like 6 months, and then that's it. And then I was like, oh, okay, we're taking a break. We'll be back in. We're taking because like a lot of mics around here, they do like they're seasonal. You know what I mean? Like we'll be open for like 6 months, or maybe like 4 months. Usually like from like March to like August or whatever. This is just one of those, And they were like, yeah, we'll be back next month, or we'll be back like early next year. And then the pandemic happened, and it was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah,
maybe not, but it was. This is sexuality is such a weird thing, man. Like it's like what I loved about that night down in China. I'm always going to say in Chinatown where we were.
It is Chinatown. It was right.
It was
in the
dope,
middle
but I'd never
Chinatown.
been to Chinatown before. That was my first. See, that's what I love, man. Like you're like, hey, man, come check this out. Like, come explore something different. Come meet some new people.
Check it out.
And I walk into this room, and it's dark lit. People are sitting on pillows, and I didn't know what was about to happen.
It was like purple.
Yeah,
the lighting was good. It was good lighting. That's half the fun.
I had the mood, and I remember they said like, all right, if you came here tonight, you're just not going to listen. You're going to participate. And they handed us paper and pens.
Exactly.
And we wrote stuff, and I actually read what I wrote, and people were reading what they wrote. And it was a spectrum, right? It was like everything from like the most sensual romance, deep love to pure debauchery in the bedroom.
You're right. It was all spectrums of man. It was,
all spectrums.
It was
of
cool
man.
too.
Yeah.
And like they even had like I believe the night you went, one of my homegirls, she was actually the feature, and it was cool because like she has really good poems on eroticism and stuff like that. And like, what is it? I really enjoy. Like I see her piece. Like I've seen that poet. A lot, but like the pieces she was sharing that I've never heard before, and it's obviously talking about sexuality and stuff like that has a lot of baggage to it. So it was good to just have a place to explore all that, like judgment-free, guy, girl, non-binary, everyone to just sort of just like explain, like, yeah, I'm into this. And don't get me wrong, I'm one of those people that I'm just like, ew. But like when I heard some other people, like when I heard what some of their fetishes were, I was like, ew, okay. But like I'm happy that they could express it. I'm glad that space exists, and I'm glad that Aman, God bless her. She's a fantastic woman who's very good at creating spaces like that. I'm happy that those spaces exist. It's really, really good times.
I agree. I mean, it was a safe space, and it's a space for something that's so taboo that we're taught not to talk about it, or you can't say this and you can't say that, or that's weird if you bring that up. What I loved about that space, and probably all types of spaces like this around LA, is like, just come as who you are. Like we don't. Yeah. We're not judging. And that's one thing I will say about Los Angeles that I do. A great thing about this city is like you can be who you want.
Yeah, pretty much.
Be yourself. You can be yourself. You can be yourself. Now, you're not saying you can't do that other places, but here it's a melting pot of so many different personalities and individualities, and it's a beautiful thing.
I think like the need for like authenticity is greater here because of Hollywood. You know what I mean? Because there's so much like of like that LA fakeness. There's a lot of people who want to push back against that and be like, no, we're really real. Like a lot of us are bleeding hearts. A lot of us wear our hearts on our sleeves. We really do. Some of us do live up to certain like, artistic stereotypes. We do quote Shakespeare, or we do get really dramatic when we perform poetry. Like, but it's real, it's authentic, and it's who we are. And it's like, that's all people want. It's just authenticity.
Yeah, and bringing it back to the narcissism, what the point I was going to bring it home to was when you quit seeking validation, even when it comes to romance or going into that realm, I feel it gives more confidence because I'm no longer. Now I'm not saying don't have yourself together to some regard, but it's like I'm not in my head about, oh, is my outfit the right outfit, or oh, do I have enough?
I mean, to be fair though, you look good. Like, I mean, let's just get out of the way. You're a very attractive man. Like, you don't need to worry about, like, you know how some people could wear trash and still pull it off. I think you could pull off any outfit that you pick. Like, you have a good body. You're a good looking man. You got good hair. Respectfully speaking, I'm just saying. Like, I wouldn't worry about these things if I were you.
Well, I mean, you're a good-looking dude too, man. I mean that.
Trying,
Like, I dig the look and the vibe, and I guess the point I'm trying to bring is when you quit thinking of the external and you focus on the internal. That's what I'm also focusing when I'm connecting with another human being too. If that makes sense.
Oh, easily. No, easily.
I'm about, and that can be anything. That can be friendship, romance, whatever.
No. Facts. No, I'm the same way. Except I'm the same way. Except I'm more. What's the word? It's like I want your whole being. Like I all of my exes, like all 3 of them, 4 of them. Well, I don't know. Like I do not have a long dating history. I don't. But they would all tell me like the same thing where it was like I'm like probably the first person to ask them what their boundaries were, what they are comfortable with, and like, stuff like that. And I'm very, very communicative because my parents weren't. So I'm like, I try to be communicative. So if I'm like gonna be like with you, we're gonna like be together, I'm gonna know who you are. I want like the highs and the lows. I want all of it because like, I'm at a point now where I don't have shallow friendships. You know what I mean? I don't have shallow relationships with people. I really do just like, like if you're around me, we're going to go to some art stuff. We're going to open up. I'm going to know about your life. You know what I mean? Like, I liked that time when you and I went to that erotic poetry session, because it was like, oh, this is cool. I'm learning more about you. I get to see, like, who you are, more of that, And I think that's really cool. And that's why I want to take you to more open mics, man. You can fucking explore with other people, man. Like, fuck.
Yeah, I like the human library thing you had brought up too.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out.
People are such a valuable resource. And I think you're similar to me. And as we do have a pretty good network of people we talk to of all different areas. I like being friends with people in all different industries and areas. It's interesting, man. And it keeps you grounded too. It doesn't get me lost in just one world. Like,
I agree. I like that too. Like my best friend is this like tiny Mormon girl.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, what is it? I like her because like she's not an artist by any means. She's just someone who is. I've known her since middle school, and she's like one of my best friends, if not my best friend. And like I like talking to her because she's not an artist. She's just someone who just she does her own thing. And I'm like, oh, this is so great because sometimes when all you talk to is artists, you want to talk to other people that aren't artists just to remind yourself, what the world looks like.
Yeah.
What the world looks like. You know what I mean? Just to remind yourself, hey, not everyone is out here.
Let me step out of La La Land for a second. And
exactly. Let me just say, what are the Mormons up to? Like Melissa.
Yeah.
She's genuinely a really good person.
That's awesome. And this has been an amazing conversation, man. Like I feel like I could go 5 hours with you. And before we wrap here, and you've touched on it a little bit throughout the podcast, when I notice some of the things you share publicly and talk about and are so open with, like you even said, like you ask people, what are your boundaries? One area, and I don't know if it's to be labeled as mental health or whatever you want to do, you seem to have a very open conversation addressing some of these issues that a lot of people may not be comfortable talking about. And I really admire about you, and I respect that about you. And going to what you started the podcast with, you said you lived in a household where you didn't express yourself.
Yeah.
One thing I've learned is when you keep that stuff bottled up in you, it's not that it doesn't go away. It's there.
Yeah.
So until you face that and deal with it and, whatever you got to do to deal with it, that's how you get past some of those things. So I was just giving you really an open floor, or if you could just maybe take me a little through like your mindset when it comes to mental health or people expressing themselves.
mental health is an interesting topic. I'm glad that we're at a point in society where we could just talk about it openly. You know what I mean? You know, I see a therapist like once a week. And it's like one of those things. I was always one of those kids that, like, I think it was around, like, I always had I've always, like, my whole thing was that, like, I was always very self-aware. Like, I remember, like, there were points in my life where I just remember, like, the way my parents were and my living situation was just not normal. Like, my dad, he would always work. He wasn't there for me emotionally. And that really messed me up. It left a black hole in my heart, and it sucks. And it's something that I deal with even through adulthood. I'm 26, which is God. Anyways,
You're young.
yeah, no, yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I saw, like, my dad, he grew up a certain way that men in that era were expected to behave. And it was like the older I got, the more I just sort of, like, I rejected masculinity and, like, stuff like that. I didn't like toxic masculinity. I didn't have the language to express it at a young age, but I just remember being like, I don't like the way as a man I'm supposed to behave and act and be stoic. And I'm like, I see what that looks like. That's my dad. I see what that gets you. I don't want that. I want more. And it sucks because I fluctuate between, like, because the world, I still really feel like the world that my dad lives in isn't that far off from the world that I live in. I just have different coping mechanisms that just weren't, I just have different tools that weren't available to him. But, like, corporate America, that's still a real thing. You still have to shut off parts of yourself to an extent to be able to do it. And my dad, he shuts off parts of himself to do it. And I get it. At the same time, it's like a part of me is like, I don't want to be this. Mental health is like, man, like, I got to take my own advice so many times. It's like, it sucks because it's just like, I wish that everyone had everything they want so that they would know that, like, it's not enough. And I heard Jim Carrey say that. Like, that's not me saying, that's Jim Carrey. And I'm not at that point yet at all. Like, I feel like I'm very behind in life. I feel like I haven't reached any of the milestones that most people my age have. And, I see on the internet that that's somewhat common. So that's, like, makes me feel happy. But, like, I just, like, I don't know what the end goal is because happiness is too abstract. I think contentment might be it. But I know that, like, you should have some support around you, or just you should always have people, because, I don't know if everyone struggles with, like, negative self-talk. I have in my head, I'm like a horrible fucking monster. I wake up to, like, things that I did in middle school sometimes because they were just, like, not even bad, but they're just, just dumb stuff. I constantly think about, like, how I'm 26 and I still live in the same town I grew up in. And then I'll say that to my friends, I'll be like, oh man, I still live in the same town I grew up in. And my friends will be like, yeah, but you're in LA. Like, you're not in the middle of nowhere, dude. Like, you are at the end point for a lot of people and you're here. And it's stuff like that. Just always, like, have a good support system. People that'll, like, bounce the negative thoughts off, That said, I understand that not everyone has that. Not everyone has friends, because I've been there before. And one of the things that sort of helped me out, I noticed at a very young age, was if I'm vulnerable, that'll filter out a lot of people. And in a weird way, it'll bring people closer to you. Because, like, like, I'm still growing. I still get it wrong. But, like, I think I'm at least trying to be more authentic every day. And the more authentic you are, the more you'll just filter people that don't need to be in your life. And you will filter people who should be in your life, And people are drawn to that. And I think, like, at the end of the day, we all just, not we all, but, like, just a lot of us are just craving some sense of belonging and some sense of like, validation and like that we're good enough. And I think, we'll all get there when we get older. But right now in our 20s, it's like an uphill battle. But we'll get there. We'll figure it out. But just while we're in our 20s, we're gonna stumble along the way. So these are just growing pains. I'm sure once I'm 50 and like I'll look back on all this and be like, yeah, I did it the best that I could. I hope so, at least. Yeah.
I love that. And the 20s is definitely, not that your 30s aren't too, but the 20s is
30s
definitely
seem cool.
Yeah, 20s was a very fun, but yeah, it is mentally, because you're figuring out stuff still. Like,
yeah,
who am I and what do I, it's like you get to the 30s, there's still some of that, but you're a little more grounded. So yeah, I think you're doing great, man. I think you're.
Thank you. That means a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Oh no, I mean you're a very intelligent, insightful, compassionate person that I'm grateful to know.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you taking the time here, and I could keep talking to you all night.
It's late.
It's getting late. So, any final words or thoughts? Something you've been thinking about, a book you've read, anything you want to leave us with?
I mentioned how sharks are older than trees, right? I mentioned that already. Yeah,
Yes.
Very important. I hope if you're listening to this, whoever is listening to this, I hope they know that they are worthy, they are good enough. And I hope you know that, like, even though I don't know you, whoever's listening, I would hope that you at least feel less alone. And that's kind of it. And that you matter. Yeah.
I love it, man. If people want to follow you, can they follow you anywhere?
Yeah. So Instagram is Ariel51_comedy. I don't post jokes on there. I really should. I suck at social media, man. I'm on Facebook, but like, again, that's just because I'm on Facebook. My name is Ariel Jimenez. Yeah, no. You can find me at Palms Up Academy on Wednesdays. We run out. We are an open mic. We run it out of a decolonized high school. It's very cool. It's an indigenous space in Eagle Rock. It's really tight. It's an outdoor amphitheater. Really cool. Yeah, no. Come through sometime. You can find me there. If you want to stalk me, my home address. No.
Ariel, this has been a treat, man. It's so good to talk to you. So good to see you. Thank you for just being your true, authentic self. And this is a fun podcast, man. There was a lot of things talked about in a short amount of time.
Dude, let me know when this episode uploads, man. I'd love to.
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you as soon as it's up, man. And one quick thing before we go, is Ariel 51 a playoff of Area 51?
Yeah,
hit me that.
No, yeah. I was there's a band. So me and my brother, I was listening to this band called Roswell Kid. Which, side note, by the way, I don't know if you've ever been to Roswell. That place is kind of cool. Like, it's a cool place to spend like a night at.
New Mexico?
But anyway, yeah, Roswell, New Mexico.
No,
yeah,
never been.
It's a whole town devoted to like aliens. Like, it's so cool.
I know of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, yeah, I was listening. So I have like music, like like nomickers or whatever. Like for example, like one of my stage names is Hispanic at the Disco, But the OG one was Ariel 51, and my brother thought of it because we were listening to a band called Roswell Kid, and I was like, what if I call myself something like that, like Roswell, like Child or some shit. He was like, that's kind of lame. And we were just thinking about the whole time. And then I went to I forgot what I did. I went off to go somewhere, and he came back and he was like, Ariel 51. I'm like, that's the one.
That's pretty genius.
Right? It's so good.
Awesome, my friend. Yeah. Ariel, thank you so much. We'll be talking again soon. Hope to see you soon. And again,
yeah, man. Again, if you're free next Tuesday, let me know about if you're free to go to a mic and a bunch of artists. It'll be indoors in someone's actual apartment, well, loft, really. But if you want to come through.
Yeah, man, for sure. And if not this time, definitely we'll connect soon.
Hell yeah. All right, man. I'll talk to you in the future. Peace, man.
All right, my friend. Peace.